Starfleet Underground. Every week, we'll take a look at the latest Star Trek news and then check out a current or classic episode of Star Trek. What a wonderful example of first contact. This week, an alien ship harasses the Enterprise. Trip gets dumped, and Hoshi goes on a secret mission to find out what Malcom likes to eat. It's all about cell towers, anal probing, phase cannons, pineapple, and great balls of fire. And not necessarily in that order.
Doc, thank you for bringing it into the room because the galley is a lot cloudy. I didn't know Heather was making breakfast this morning. Oh, wait, here it is. We're on. Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another thrilling, wonderful Starfleet Underground. We're here with the full crew today. We did not pick up a guest. That may happen next week. If you wanted to find out when our guest schedule is, then all you got to do is sign up for our Patreon, and then you'll get a sneak peek on who we're going to kidnap. I've been kind of arguing against that because then that would give the people we want to kidnap a warning that we're coming. But hey, it's worth it. We're being brought to you by Section 31. My name is Nathan Adams, and we're here with our science officer.
Hi, I'm Heather Ferris. I'm the science officer, and you wouldn't believe what happened.
What happened?
So, okay, like the captain said, I was cooking breakfast and everything, and a fire...
That was your first mistake.
I know. A fire erupted, and the flames, lit a couple Tribbles on fire, and they were just plumes of balls of, fire and smoke and debris. They were wearing red shirts. I don't know what possessed them to do it, but they were wearing red shirts, and now they're just plumes of
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
Literally.
Great furry balls of fire.
Yeah.
By the way, not a podcast for kids because we are going to be talking about animal cruelty, such as, burning Tribbles. So
Shouldn't we have a lawyer come on and say, officially, we do not burn Tribbles?
Officially, our podcast is not made for kids.
No Tribbles are actually burned in the making of this podcast.
This is why you should shave your balls, because then you wouldn't have flaming Tribbles.
Don't set your balls on fire. People like to do stupid stunts. I've seen videos, but don't set your balls on fire.
No. Or zip them.
I think what happened is that the Tribbles was watching an old broadcast of the original series, and they all wanted to be Scotty. So they all put on red shirts, and that's why they're running around. But they neglected to see that the security red shirts are the ones that get it. So we're going to have a talk.
We have an abundance of security shirts.
Yeah, the one Tribble who made it, he's like, what happened was Heather was making some food, and we got all caught up in the flames.
I'm glad you finally got the translator to work, because most of the time all I get is food.
Food. Yeah.
Well, what happened is universal, so,
Right. Speaking of what happened was, that's our computer person, Pat.
Hey, I'm Patrick. I'm the computer guy. I'm number one, and I'm also the foreign species liaison, which, we haven't really had any foreign species on except for, the commander last week. But, she's Vulcan, so I don't really consider that foreign anymore.
And we have, of course, our wonderful engineer.
That's me. Hi, I'm Rocky. I'm the engineer of the show and the ship. Oh, don't touch that. That you don't want to hit that button. Leave that one alone.
Yeah, what happened was...
How do you know that I was actually going to really hit the button?
You got to be careful. These buttons are very dangerous.
Did you activate the security camera in my quarters again?
I allegedly may or may not know about security in your quarters, sir.
No, that's a Nathan will push this button, stupid button.
Rocky, are you a voyeur?
Yeah, but that's nothing. Everybody knows that. I like to watch stuff.
He's a Voyager.
Hey.
Okay, I'm going to have to take a look and find out where that thing is. All right. So, again, today...
You have to find out where your thing is? What?
You're in rare form today. Somebody must have slept all night. We're being brought to you by not only Section 31, but from viewers like you who subscribe to our Patreon. And we have a new Patreon member. We we have Lana
Whoop, whoop.
joined us, and she's a longtime listener, and she's
Yay, Lana.
joined our
Yay.
Patreon channel. So
Sweet.
thank you for listening to us.
Now we just have to get Lana's dogs involved. If they can get involved, then can your dogs be a Patreon?
Well, I guess they could, and they're big enough to wear red shirts also.
Yeah.
They're quite large.
And loud.
So, yes, they get some throat to them, so that's a good thing. Now, first off, I'm going to ask, do we have any corrections?
I did not see anything come over subspace, but let me give it one more quick glance here in case something came in since we started. Nope, we are.
If something came in, you'd be moaning. Go ahead.
Oh.
Anyway, what happened was no, no subspace communications. We had a perfect show apparently.
Again, flawless victory.
Or at least no one noticed that we screwed up.
That may be the case, or nobody cared to let us know.
Yeah, that's more likely.
Or they know that we screwed up and they didn't have the energy to tell us because we do it so often.
They probably have shit to do, you know? That's probably what it is.
Probably. Oh, let me go ahead and never mind. Forget it. Let's do news. You got any news for us, Heather?
Aye, Captain. So my news is death, the final frontier. So if you go to Reddit, they had this post up. This is just awesome. And they did the statistics and everything. And they took everyone who died, they took their shirt color and put a percentage by it. So you know the percentage of like how likely it's going to be that this character is going to die if they're wearing this shirt color. So, of course, red is the highest number at 32.3%. So if you are wearing a red shirt, there is 1/3 of a chance that you are going to totally die on this away mission, especially if you're not like a
not
main
just
character.
not just partially die, but
Yeah, what's the percentage for partially dying?
yeah, you totally die, not partially die, but totally die.
I got better.
Totally.
I partially died once, but I got better.
Yeah. I only 12% died. I got,
And speaking of which, science officers are the least likely to die at 21.2%, and that's between the three colors that are most well known, which is red, yellow, and blue. We also have black and green, where black is 8.5% and green or other is 9%.
That explains why I saw in your application the reason why you wanted to go into science. You said less likelihood that I will die. Oh, that explains
I'm very
things.
practical that way.
The catch is you hang out with those ones wearing the other shirt colors a little too often, and that's why they still have like 30%.
As long as when you're on the away mission, as long as there's a red shirt that's not like part of the main crew, you're good to go.
That explains something a little bit because psychologically they found that if you have a red sports car, you're more likely to get a speeding ticket than any other color.
it also means you have a tiny weenie.
You know, so that means that the police actually, the color so bright it calls attention to itself.
Yeah.
That's what. Speaking of tiny weenies, Patrick, you got any news for us?
Oh,
That's right. Yeah, I hear the gears. You're scrambling to find a rephrase.
He got you on that one. 1 point, Nathan.
I just didn't want to say anything that was going to get bleeped.
On this show?
Yes, I know, right? So my news is about the original William Shatner. And he says, "Are you ready to rumble?" He's being inducted into He's being inducted into the
stream on the mic. You got to back off a little.
Are you ready to rumble?
Much better. Much better.
Okay. So he's being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, the celebrity wing, mind you, along with such notables as William Refrigerator Perry, Bob Uecker, Drew Carey, Mike Tyson, Mr. T, Snoop Dogg, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. You might remember that he had that infamous feud with Jerry the King Lawler, and he was often the narrator or guest host on WWE. He was the narrator on WWE Breaking Ground, and when he was promoting Trek Wars, he was also a frequent guest on the show.
Oh, outstanding.
Tech Wars? That was the...
Oh, yeah. Tech Wars was based on the books that he wrote.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a show too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they made that
yeah.
into a series for a little while. I don't think it lasted more than a season or two, but yeah, it was on TV, definitely. That's it for your part, right?
That would be it.
How about you, Rocky? You got any news for us?
I'm always blown away at the connection of Trekkies and wrestling. Just from standing from, a scientific point of view, it fascinates me.
You know who would be a good wrestler, but he wouldn't be a good draw because they could never find anybody to beat him?
Who?
With SPOCK. Because as soon as someone came into the ring, he just nerve pinched him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Done. Yeah. And
Exactly.
1, 2. They just be counting to 10 all the time.
1, 2, nerve
We
pinch.
we have Gorgon the Horrible versus Spock. Everyone look forward to this long. Oh, he did the neck pinch. Match is over. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
And still undefeated.
Also, too, I didn't know the Count was a Vulcan.
He is, yes. He's 1, 2, nerve pinch. We have, speaking of Tech Wars, there was the series ran for 18 episodes from 1994 to 1996, but there were 4 movies too. Tech War, Tech War Justice, Tech War Tech Lords, and Tech War Tech Lab.
I had no idea that there were movies.
That's really cool.
Starring Greg Evigan. Remember Greg Evigan?
Idea. Yeah. I was surprised. We'll have to look for them to see if they were. I guess they must have did okay if they made 4 of them. I mean, geez, the knees.
Well, all the movies were made in 1994, and the series started in 1994. So I'm wondering if maybe the movies were...
may coincide with it.
Yeah.
I remember reading one of the books, and it was actually pretty good. So if you're looking for some sci-fi, because sometimes sci-fi dries up a little once in a while, the Tech War may be something to go check out.
And guess who was one of the actors in it? Tori Higginson from Stargate Atlantis.
Huh?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Uh-huh.
Okay, continue with your news there.
Oh, yes.
Rocky.
I was talking about news.
Yes.
Of course, I was watching Babylon 5 the other day. I've never watched that show before.
So good.
It's amazing to me.
It is.
The production values, they went insane, those guys,
Yep.
and all this stuff in the back. But anyway, that's a whole nother show, probably another podcast.
Yeah, I'm doing a rewatch myself, and
Me
I've
too.
forgotten how entertaining it was.
That and the lead guy reminds me so much of Leslie Nielsen, the way he's doing the cop thing, you know, the way Frank Drebin, you know, way we would talk in Police Squad is just it's on a hint of becoming comical, but at the same time, it's an entertaining show so far.
The acting in the beginning of it was a little stilted, but you can see as it progresses when the actors get into their characters, they're really mesmerizing.
Yeah, they're starting to develop with a couple episodes that I'm into now, and you kind of see that it has potential. It was a little shaky on the beginning. I'm like, what the hell am I watching? But I've started to get into it. So anyway, we're completely off topic now. The news, what I wanted to talk about, the big story, of course, is First Contact Day. That's happening, well, probably now. If you're hearing the podcast, it's probably happening, if not now, very soon, because April 5th is First Contact Day.
Woo!
And StarTrek.com/First Contact is where you've got to go, or it's also on Paramount Plus and YouTube. So they're going to actually, you don't have to watch it live. There's live streaming a whole bunch of stuff, but you'll be able to watch it after the fact. So if you just go to StarTrek.com/First Contact, you should be able to find everything you need there. The cool thing they're doing Star Trek UnitedGives again on the hashtag. So if you tweet hashtag Star Trek UnitedGives, United will give some money, or Star Trek will give some money to United Way.
Nice.
So that's cool. But as a Trekkie aspect of it, they're going to watch some of the First Contact type episodes. So any episode that had First Contact, they may be watching it on a marathon. So they're going to split the marathon throughout the day. Between the marathon, they're going to have some panels. So they're going to get the Star Trek First Contact 25th anniversary panel. We're talking about First Contact, the movie. Well, they're going to have Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes, Brett Spiner, Alice Cridge, all talking about behind the scenes stuff from that movie. They're going to have a Creating First Contacts panel, which is actually going to be about Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard. The Women in Motion panel, Sonequa Martin Green, maybe heard of her? Something else, right? No?
Nah.
How about Michelle Hurd?
Nah.
Issa Briones?
Nah.
Lower Decks? Don Lewis?
Yeah, I've heard that one.
So okay, well, at least he's gotten down with the Lower Decks. So the Women in Motion panel looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Second Contact panel is Mike McMahon from the actual Lower Decks, the creator, and other people are going to be involved. So we're going to talk about Second Contact on First Contact Day, which is what happens on Lower Decks, which is because they're always going out in the Second Contact. Star Trek Prodigy. That's the one we're going to need to be checking out, because the executive producers are going to be on that one. And Catherine Janeway. Kate Mulgrew is going to be on it too. So that's very cool. First Contact Day is free, totally free, absolutely effing free. StarTrek.com/First Contact and Paramount Plus, YouTube as well.
Is it free?
Free as in fuck me, please.
Free? Okay.
Okay, I got a question.
Yes.
So they're doing all of these panels. They're getting really used to this. Like, this is becoming like a normal thing where they're doing panels with the actors and everything, just like they do with the Star Trek convention. Are they going to record the panels at the Star Trek convention and put them up on YouTube for everyone to see?
Probably not.
I Probably, yeah. You know what? I think they're just hanging on that footage somewhere in a library, and they sell it to people for a lot of money at some point.
I've never seen that footage.
No,
they
not to
supposedly
public.
take the footage,
Not
but I
to
have
public.
never seen it.
No. It's on the shelf of somebody's shelf somewhere, and yeah, I have no idea what they're doing with that footage.
Yeah, Creation Entertainment would never just like put that out there for you.
Definitely not just put it out there. That's for sure.
You would have to pay
BS.
for it.
They make some money on those things.
Yeah.
And you know, there's the classic, you know, you got to be there in person to experience it. So there's that
I'm
aspect
sorry,
to
but
it.
there are so many people that actually buy the gold ticket, like front seat, you know, chairs.
The economics of it is very interesting,
No.
isn't it?
But then they go and they do something else and they don't watch the panels. And then they end up watching the panels on YouTube anyway because they missed it.
Well, conventions are very busy places to go to, and sometimes you got to do something else.
Which is why Creation, if you are listening, get on this.
Yeah, it's a very interesting aspect. A lot of people are afraid to live stream certain things when you're having paying clients in the first place. It's and you can do pay-per-view now too, but then there's a whole, well, if they do pay-per-view, they get hacked, and then somebody puts it on for free somewhere.
If you get a George Takei panel and someone asks them about William Shatner, ooh, Lord, the fireworks.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Well, there's usually fireworks when George Takei's on stage. That's all I'm saying.
Because he's a hot mama.
Oh my.
Well, if you really want to get an idea of what George Takei thinks of him, if you have Comedy Central, or go on YouTube and look for the roast of William Shatner, because he really kind of lets loose at him by just kind of jokingly, but like really serious with that shit. So
that was
it's
really
funny.
good.
Yeah,
It's
it was.
interesting to hear Shatner talk about it too. Is like, you know, it was, you know, back in the 60s, and there was just some actors on the show that he was on too. They never like hung out. So it's fascinating that they've got this thing going.
Even
The
had-
anti-chemistry.
What's the actor's name again? I keep blanking on his name. The one that played Chekhov. God help me. Walter Koenig. Okay.
Yeah.
Shatner had a talk show on once where he just sat in a chair facing somebody else.
Raw nerve.
Raw, that's it. Thank
Yeah.
you. And he had Walter on and basically wanted to know why people hated him. And he told them exactly why. It's like, because you stole all our lines. You take direction.
yeah.
You never fought for us. You take this. That's why we hate
It's
you.
interesting, the early days versus today. Well, you know, actors can be divas, right?
Yeah.
No, the hell you say?
I mean, in the nicest way. But yeah, at some point, at some level of acting, you turn into a diva. It just happens. And then it gets to be a competitive thing. And we're just wanting to be entertained. That's all the audience wants is to watch something that's entertaining. But you get in front of the cameras, and it's personal.
I used to live across the street from Walter.
You know, so, but he's
My old apartment he lived just a couple blocks from me.
and if you're a Walter fan, he really tears up the scenery in Babylon 5.
What part does he get in? Because I haven't seen him yet. Is it?
No, he'll show up. He's
Okay.
a Vesper. He's a Psychop.
Yeah,
Cool.
just Psychop.
So it's
Psychop
really,
or Cyclops?
Psych. They're psychic police.
He gets in your head.
there's a group called Psycor, which a bunch of psychics, and they go around doing devious undercover. It's like their version of Section 31.
It's like if Deanna had something worthwhile to do with her talents as a Betazoid. You know, if she was a
Right.
cop, that would be Betazoid Cop.
And here I thought I shouldn't say that. No, I shouldn't say that.
You were going to say
Never
something about
mind.
Cyclops?
I was going to say something about her
One
and
eyes?
Betazoids, how she
Oh.
was always wearing the V-shaped, shirts and everything and had the
Ratings
cleavage.
week.
Yeah.
And then she's a Betazoid. So I bet she wears that to walk down the hall, to get that,
You get the
whenever
vibe.
whenever someone gets turned on or whatever, when they get all, hot and feisty,
Well,
she
when
gets
they
that
get
because
turned on,
she's a
she
Beta.
gets turned on. and-
Exactly.
yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Well, that's why women wear what they wear sometimes.
We're not Betazoids.
And Patrick. And Patrick.
We are have
don't
to
wear that.
tiptoe around that subject.
Okay, fine.
Okay. News continuing. Is there anything else you have on the news thing? Or
No, that's pretty much it for me.
Okay. Well, people who were Alex Siddig fans will be happy to know that he's going to be on Apple TV coming up soon. He's going to be starring as Charlie Hunnam in Shantaram.
With Charlie Hunnam.
With Charlie Hunnam and Shantaram. It's going to be an Apple drama based on a novel. And so he's going to be there really soon. And the last part is the Voyager documentary has been officially funded. It blew past all Tops of Indigo records on how much.
They blew that thing out of the water and into space. Literally, it's in space.
Officially.
They raised over $1 million.
Yeah.
$1 million.
It's going to be quite interesting and quite cool. Now, before we get onto the show, you guys were talking about Betazoid, and I was talking to a security officer that was here, and he was explaining to me what had happened because
what happened was
he got married. Exactly. And he said that it was a half Betazoid family. So the wife he was going to marry, the woman he's going to marry is half Betazoid, and the sister. And he said the sister was absolutely gorgeous, just like the woman he was going to marry. And what happened is that she said that, I need you to come to the house because there's some things I need to go over and I don't want my sister to know and my family know for the wedding. And he's like, okay. So he gets his shuttlecraft. He flies over there and he lands and he goes into the house and she's there and she looks at him and goes, I've always sensed a sexual tension between us and you're getting married to my sister and I don't want this to cause problems later on. So I think if we do it now and just get it out of our system, that we won't have that tension for the rest of your marriage. And I think that we should do that. And he looks at her and she starts walking up the stairs and slowly taking off all her clothes before she disappears upstairs. So he turns around and he leaves. And when he steps out the house, his future father-in-law, mother-in-law is there with his fiance. And they're crying with tears. It goes, oh my God, you passed. You're so loyal. And he said, do you know what the moral of the story was? And I says, what? He says, always leave your condoms in the shuttlecraft.
Thought so. I knew it was going to be. Yeah. Okay. I like that. That was well done, sir.
That is so funny.
So I
Moral of the
thought
traitorous whore.
So I thought it was going to turn into one of those freaky things where the sister shows up in the middle of it and then joins in and then the family shows up and then, just like those videos on those sites that I don't look at.
No, that would have been one of the Bow Chicka Wow Wow stuff.
Yeah, that would have been really a what happened was. Your Honor, what happened was.
So, now we're going to go, I guess it's now time for the show. So let's get started.
We have a show?
Yes, we do.
Hi, Captain. So this week's episode is Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, Episode 12, Silent Enemy. It first aired January 16th, 2002. Teaser, UFO sighting. As the Enterprise crew proceeds with the vital task of installing a cell phone tower into space so they can phone home, a mysterious ship appears out of thin air. Archer says hi and tries to communicate, but instead bores them to death, giving off a bad first impression. The alien ship decides that it has better things to do with its time and ghosts the Enterprise, departing without ever saying a word.
So what you're saying is Enterprise is out there and they only got like a half a bar and they had to put a cell tower up to get 5 bars. All the bars. They got all the bars now.
Yep, okay. Exactly.
I love the modern day equivalents to the technology. That's cool.
Now, the thing that kind of gets me is I noticed that why in the Star Trek universe, any ship that has green nacelles are usually bad. I would seriously assume, like, Captain, we just got a ship, came on sensor range. What color are the nacelles? Green. Red alert. Red alert.
If it's green, go red.
Well, wasn't that in the Starfleet manual somewhere?
I think that's a shortcut. If it's like there's an acronym for if it's green, go red.
Yeah.
It has to be because that's the only thing I can think of. It's like, wow, if you notice that, it's like every single time. But yeah, it came up like a looky-loo. It just appeared, scanned them, and they're like, what the fuck is that? I don't know. Can we eat it? I'm not sure. Well, let's go research it and come back.
Can we eat it? No. Can we fuck it? Maybe.
They gave them the silent treatment. They're just
I squared G squared R. If it's green, go red.
There you go.
They probably did that. You're probably right. They probably say, we hit a trifecta. We can fuck them and eat them.
Ding, 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 ding. Jackpot.
They must be plant-based.
They left the condoms in the other shuttlecraft, so they had to leave the scene and go back.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
exactly
Your
it.
joke came back to haunt you, sir.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, the shuttlecraft that they used to board Enterprise, they left them in that shuttle.
But now you get a chance to see that in space they have a whole bunch of those little relays out everywhere.
That was really cool. Echo 2 got some good screen time right there for a relay. I mean, you never see relays on the show ever like that. That was kind of cool.
Did we actually ever see the relay? Because I don't remember seeing the relay.
Oh, no,
they
it's
just talked about it.
No,
we
it's
did
the
see
very
it.
first shot. The very first
Yep.
shot of the show. It's a shot of Echo 2 being deployed.
It kind of looked like
Yeah.
it looked a little bit like Voyager. So before
Yeah.
it turned into Voyager. So
Pre-feature feature.
so it was pretty cool. Yeah.
And afterwards, Archer's
These were
like,
shot out long ago.
Yeah.
and afterwards, Archer was like, was it something I said? And I'm like, yeah, always. It's always something you say.
You got bad breath, sir. You didn't.
Mint?
Exactly. You need some.
You got space breath.
Yeah.
You need a Mentos.
And one of the Easter eggs for this is originally this episode was supposed to be titled Call to Arms, but they had to change it like at the very last minute because someone finally realized that there's a Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode with the same name.
Well, plus this is the first episode right in 2002. I mean, 9/11 was 2001, so it was only, a call to arms could have been seen as something.
Yeah, but
they
when
wanted
you do that search in the massive database they must have somewhere, there's got to be a database where they go and look, oh, that's this. It's not a guy. It's got to be an actual database. Because sometimes it's just, go talk to Frank. Frank knows. But no, I'm sure they have a database that has every single show title in, and they got to make sure they don't come close to any of them.
Okay, yeah. So they have to do a different one, a unique one for each.
Except when they quote Shakespeare again. They do that sometimes, don't they?
Yeah. And they were like a ghost ship in a way because they scanned them and it was like there was no biosigns, no weapons, no nothing.
I really liked that they just warped out and it looked really cool.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
no,
they, like,
no
had a
warp
complete-
signature, nothing.
Yeah, they were running
Yeah.
silent.
Yeah, that's for sure. They came and went real quick, and
Just like you.
Don't you hate it when someone just comes in, banes it out, and then leaves?
Yep.
Well, it depends. Sometimes you want them to.
Yeah, sometimes you don't want them there in the morning. It's like, you know what? I don't want to deal with that.
Well,
Get the fuck
that's
out.
it. That's if they have a coyote ugly face.
That's just go home. It's okay.
It's like, why are you still here? So, okay, wait. Also, the beginning of part, we hadn't get Hoshi's secret mission yet, right? That's the next
That
section.
comes up, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, next section.
Aye, Captain. So our next section, Act 1, Teenage Aliens. Storyline A, Archer doesn't like the silent treatment and the rest of the crew is stumped. So they decide to continue working on the cell phone towers. A short while later, the alien ship returns and Archer calls them again and the aliens handle it like you would any annoying telemarketer. They prank their ass by emitting a high-pitched squeal over the phone while simultaneously scanning their ship. Then they laugh their asses off about how prehistoric they are and drive away. Storyline B, it's Reed's birthday and the captain wants to celebrate. So Archer calls Reed's parents wanting to know what his favorite food is, but they have no clue. They don't even know what position he holds. Ladies and gentlemen,
Or
we
lights.
have our first place winner for Parents of the Year award. Woo! Archer gives Hoshi the assignment instead.
Well, his dad was kind of a dick.
Dude, they were such assholes.
Don't hold back now.
He's like, what does he do on your ship, Captain?
Oh, he's on your ship. Oh, I
Yes.
thought he was just assigned there. I didn't realize he's out in fucking space already.
Yes.
Seriously.
And he was supposed to be in the Navy.
Yeah. Oh my God. That was weird, man. It's
Yeah,
like that was,
stick up his butt, man.
that's when you don't want to meet their parents.
It really was. It's like, why the hell you want to know about my punk ass son?
I mean, the mom looked okay. She kind of looked. She seemed to be just a little bit off, but she seemed okay. But the dad was like, I can't deal with that guy.
Well,
No.
then you can kind of explain why he's always kind of a no-nonsense person.
Is this
himself.
like a British thing, or is it just
The mom reminded me of Mrs. Doubtfire. Hello, dear. She sounded like it too.
Yeah.
But it's an impossible task. And I kind of like the thread throughout the entire episode is like Hoshi trying to find out what the hell he likes to eat.
You've got a secret mission.
Oh my God. I felt like I'm going to rant on this. I felt like I was in 4th grade. Like, Hoshi's sitting there and she has a job to do and she needs to do it. And he's like, will you find out what his favorite food is?
Yeah, I think he's cute. Don't tell him that. I just want to know what his food is.
What's his
she's
favorite
like, really?
band, man? What's his favorite color? What are her shoe size?
She's like, I got shit to do.
Yeah, it was kind of a funny side plot to the show.
It was very third grade.
But
Yeah.
I liked it. It brought some comical moments later.
Yeah.
It did. It was cute. And my favorite part is when they decide that we're going to install the phase cannons.
That is next section.
That's actually the next section.
You know
So
what?
your favorite part hasn't come up yet.
Today. No, so this is I hated this part because it's not my favorite part. Can't stand this part.
What was with the big loud sound they sent? I want to know that technology that sends a super loud sound that makes you grab your head and duck down because it's so loud.
That was Natalie from Pensacola dumping Trip.
I could just imagine the aliens on the other side laughing their asses off as they play that.
I love that because that's a great interpretation. They actually say they made it on purpose that they didn't really show you. I mean, they showed you what the aliens look like, but you don't know their motivation. You don't know why
They're
they're doing.
teenagers pulling pranks.
They're just teenage aliens from outer space.
They were hatchet-faced butt aliens.
Well, that's next section.
Yeah, that's the next section. Then we see what they look like. But yeah, they're just running around pulling pranks on shit. That's just fucking badass, bad aliens.
Now, they broadcast that sound. They transmitted that sound because I don't understand if they broadcast the sound doesn't travel in space. So, like, what the hell?
Well, they scanned them. They actually shot a beam. I think it started as a communication beam, but when you crank it to 11, the ship falls apart. So that's what they did. They're loud neighbors. They're noisy teenagers, and then they cranked it up, and the bass was so loud.
Boom,
they
boom,
put everybody's
boom,
head.
boom. Only it was like alien. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I'm Natalie from Pensacola, and you gotta be dumped.
Long distance relationships never work. I mean, that's what they say. I don't know for a fact,
And
but
he didn't even say goodbye face to face. What an ass.
What? It was kind of like, you know what? Fuck
He
that
broke up
bitch.
over text.
That's kind of what it was.
Dude, he doesn't have a long distance relationship. His girlfriend broke up with him. He just doesn't know it.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. It's like, oh, you're going to space? You're going to space. Oh, fine. Well,
Didn't even say goodbye face to face.
yeah, I'm not even getting a goodbye from you. You just gone.
A several light year relationship is really difficult.
It's hard to get excited over a long distance relationship like that.
Yeah.
Especially if it takes weeks to get a message.
Especially if you don't have the communication systems up.
Or
No
if you're
cell
on a freighter, you're never going to get back to see him.
Exactly. If only they had a Echo 1 or Echo 2 in space so they could get communications back and forth, and maybe he could actually get the dumping literally face to face visually.
Can you imagine how hard sexting would be? It's like, oh my God, I just reached behind it. I unhooked your bra. 3 weeks later. Okay, what do you do now that it's out here?
And it has to go through the relay, so the communications person would probably know about it.
Yeah, it's not encrypted, so.
Yeah, it's not encrypted. That shit ain't encrypted.
Good God, all the information on the internet, if it was unencrypted. Oh wow,
it would be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, they dropped it off. They wanted to do it. It was kind of nice in a way to see people, they all wanted to talk to their families and all wanted to be able to get in, except for Malcolm's family, because like you said, they did not strike me as a typical loving family.
Very interesting relation. It'd be cool if we saw them later, but we never got a chance because they canceled the show too early.
They're the kind of Malcolm's parents are the ones who only have sex to have children. That's the kind of relationship that it felt like. It's like, oh, okay, we'll do this. Oh
my God, they do look like that kind of.
We did our duty for king and country.
Yeah, they did it and they got it done, and now they're stuck with each other.
Don't be like your Uncle Bob. He actually laid down when he died. You have to stand and be proper.
Oh my.
Yikes. The other things I liked about this, of course, they're talking about getting communications back home, and apparently Duvall got promoted, and they're like, oh God, thank God we're 100 light years away from that guy. Fuck that guy. I don't know what the hell's up with Duvall, but apparently you don't want to be around him. And the other part, of course, with Porthos was so damn cute. They were walking him without, he's just walking down the halls. I wonder how many takes that took because it was so friggin' cute.
I wonder whose job was it to clean up behind him, because I never noticed. I never noticed a pee pad. I never noticed.
The reason why they had to do so many takes is because every time they walk by, he'd have to mark his territory. Okay, do the take again. We'll keep doing this until he runs out.
There's always that spot on deck 3 that your dog always has to stop and sniff.
And then in the summers when it's really hot, oh, do not go down that hallway.
Thank God you're a new transfer on the ship.
That doesn't really apply in space, Heather.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so let's move on. So Andre Bormanis, the story editor and producer, he was saying that he felt that this episode was basically a really good depiction of extraterrestrial life. He felt like it was very realistic. And he commented later on, I think our earliest encounters with alien life forms will leave us utterly baffled. So that's what he was sort of trying to go for with this episode.
Well, that worked.
Yeah, it left us baffled. You did a good job.
You did a good, because you don't know what it is. It's definitely a mystery.
Yeah, they were sort of humanoid, but I mean, obviously they had the butt hatchet face.
Next episode, next section. We don't see them yet.
Well, they did come back though. They came back and they blasted them a couple more times and they broke the bulkhead. That almost, if they shot through the thing, they would have lost like 13, 14 people, including Trip.
That's next section.
No, that's still in this section. I swear that's in the section still.
Okay.
But and then I lost my train of thought. What was it?
Sorry.
They realize that the Enterprise. This is the scene where Archer gets into the turbolifitopole and they don't get it on because they're talking about how the Enterprise just can't handle hostiles. They got to get the cannons going, and so then he tells Malcolm and Trip, guys, we got to go back and put the cannons in and
back to Jupiter Station. And
Malcolm and Trip are like, we can do it. We've got the people. We got the technology. And he says, no, we're going back. And they're like, well, screw this. We're going to at least, start putting things together for them.
You were totally next section.
Well, that was kind of that was really kind of defeating though. Like Archer, going, we're going back to Jupiter Station. It was like, I was kind of disappointed in him. Yeah. I was like, wow, you big.
But everyone is in the
shit.
next section.
Okay,
go to the next
let's go to the next section officially, and I'll be quiet.
Wait, before we go to the next section, the ship came back, and did they attack this section, or was it the next section?
No, they've attacked in every section.
Yeah, they come back every time.
They attack in every
keep coming
section.
back. It's like that old annoying girlfriend.
It's like herpes.
I think the first scan they read, he goes, is this the ship that can't beat nobody? It is. Oh, we lucked out.
Let's come back. Yeah.
We found him. Cool.
Yeah. This is the USS Weak Sauce.
Let's pick on these guys for a while.
It's like cool. It'd be just like pushing the cows over on Earth.
Oh,
yes.
man.
Yes.
Okay,
cow tipping is not fun, people.
Not
You've
for the
done
cow.
it?
No.
Oh.
But the poor cows. I mean, come on.
Yeah. If we're going to talk about, setting Tribbles on fire, we're going to say no tipping cows.
Good point.
We're not animals.
No flaming balls and no tipping cows.
Damn.
Although the cheeseburgers are really good.
Moo.
Yeah. Let's just move to the next section.
Okay, next section.
Okay, next section. Act 2, Weapons Upgrade. So storyline A, the captain is spooked by their last encounter and orders the ship back to Earth so they can get a phase cannons and basically an overall upgrade of the ship. Reed and Trip think that they can do all of this work by themselves, and they try to do so under the captain's nose. Storyline B, Hoshi's search keeps hitting dead ends as she talks to Reed's sister, his best friend, an uncle, and a couple of aunts. Finally, T'Pol suggests, asking him directly. Maybe that would help. So Hoshi gives it a try. But it ends in an epic failure as signals are crossed and Reed thinks that she is inviting him to her room for sex.
Like, hello, get a clue, Reed. T'Pol is way out of your league, bitch.
I got a hot plate, babe.
Right?
It's like, are you flirting with me? Sex?
Oh, you
Sex?
have a hot plate in your room? I want you so bad right now.
You're like, remember, I'm a Vulcan. We only do it once every 7 years, and this is not that time.
I just thought that what was going to happen when she talked to him and said about the hot plate, that he was going to look up and go, that's against regulation.
I was thinking that because you really shouldn't be cooking in your own quarters.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if it was like for emergency standby, like auxiliary battery power hot plate, maybe, but for camping, maybe. But yeah, Heather would not be allowed to get a hot plate in her quarters.
Oh, goodness, no.
Yeah, hell to the no.
Yeah, no.
And I have to make a correction to myself because I said I was referring to Hoshi as being T'Pol and the sex once every 7 years.
I was wondering where the Vulcan came from because I was like, what Vulcan are you talking about?
For some reason or another, I got it confused.
I was thinking you were talking about T'Pol because T'Pol's Vulcan and she's the one that suggested to Hoshi, hey, maybe you should ask him, what do you like
I think that's
for
where
dinner?
I got my wires crossed was the...
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you get your wires crossed?
Yeah, we don't let your wires be crossed. It's okay. We accept it.
But then this ship comes back and, well, first we got Reed. Reed is telling, like, look, if we do it this way, we can increase the power. No, we're going to do it right. But no, I want to do it this way. You're not an engineer.
No, you're going to avoid the warranty
person.
if you do it that way. Don't do it that way. I'm like, yeah, fuck the warranty.
Don't take that sticker off. You'll void the warranty.
Don't do it. And it's like, but you're security. You're not even engineer. What are you doing mucking with the circuits?
I love that debate, though, because it's all about more power. I love that Reed was the guy that came up with let's channel it through the impulse drive, because that's a procedure they do normally now, right? Mm-hmm. Actually, in the motion picture, they channeled the phasers through the warp drive. So that was even further an upgrade for power. If you remember that scene where they got caught in the wormhole and they had to blow the asteroid out of the way and they were going to go fire phasers and they're like, no, belay that. We got to use photon torpedoes. And yeah, that whole sequence. But yeah, so I think that was really cool. But it's a little risky. And apparently they ended up blowing some systems out when they get around to it. But I got to give props to a great idea.
Yeah, they just wanted to shave the top off of a mountain.
Who got blown out?
So, wait, what?
We're not talking about airlocks. Oh, you're talking about,
who got blown, bitch?
So but you gotta give him credit. He doesn't want it to be defenseless, and you can't blame them.
Yeah, and these aliens are kicking their asses all over the place, and it's like, no, we need to be able to defend ourselves. But fuck those guys. We need to get some power going on these things. Let's tie the sucker into the impulse engine. That's got plenty of power.
Well, like I said before, I was a little disappointed that Archer wanted to go back to Jupiter Station. It was kind of like this defeatist attitude. It was like, what the hell are you doing?
Well, he's actually being careful because he's going to do things by the book, and as a captain, I get it.
But he hasn't done anything by the book yet.
Yeah, but just the same. He wanted to do it by the book because
I completely agree with Patrick.
It's like having a whole brand new car and you get your buddy says, I can mod the computer chip for you.
No. Let's take it back to the factory and get it tuned up right way.
No, seriously. I can do that. It's like, no, you turn my AC into a vacuum cleaner. No.
What are you doing in there?
Yeah, but then you get blown.
Yes.
Oh my God, dude. Now, is this where we see the aliens for the first time? Correct?
They come back again, right?
The butt hatchet faces.
Yeah, they're funky looking alien dudes, and it makes a whole lot more sense. They just came over to mess. They're teenagers causing trouble. They're blowing out main power. They're coming aboard to take a peek and poke and probe. Those guys got probed, right? Yeah, and voyeurs.
They have no voice boxes, so of course they can't talk.
Should we move to the next section?
That's the next section,
this is still, isn't this where they're...
Is this where they appear?
Well, yeah, because didn't they appear and the two guys in the corridor.
In section 2, they do not appear at all.
Okay,
are you sure?
Next section.
Okay.
No, I trust Heather. She's really good at taking notes and she's meticulous at it. So I will bow to the direction of
even
my
though
science
they are
officer.
slightly changed.
So go ahead.
Even though I add some stuff to it sometimes. Act 3. Anal probe. So yes, I know which
Sounds
section
fun to me.
Patrick is like, yes, I'm here.
Storyline A. The aliens launch a surprise attack, sneaking onto the Enterprise while anally probing a few unlucky Starfleet officers. Archer interrupts them in the act, officially killing the mood. The aliens leave after that embarrassing moment, and meanwhile, T'Pol realizes that someone blew up their cell phone towers. I'm not saying it was the aliens, but it was definitely the aliens.
Those dicks.
No, the people who blew up the tower was the 5G conspiracy people.
Yes.
These aliens are also 5G conspirators? God damn it.
Yep.
So Trip and Reed.
And trackers.
Trip and Reed work their asses off to get the phase cannons up and running, and the ship is upgraded. After a standard test, they realize that something is wrong because they almost blow up an entire moon. Apparently, their little alien friends left them a surprise.
So
That's a hell of a trick.
It goes back. We see them on board the ship, and it's just like what we said earlier. They did a scan, and one turned to the other one and goes, see, I told you we can eat them and fuck them.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then Archer shows up with his phaser, and they're like, oh, fuck you, we got shields.
Damn.
And is there any other kind of anal probe but a surprise anal probe? I mean, because if you know it's coming, it's not really an anal probe, right?
Hey, those guys were in bliss. They were unconscious. They got them knocked out for like,
that
half a
doesn't
day.
mean they didn't feel it afterwards.
They probably enjoyed the hell out of that.
They felt that for a few days.
If you're knocked out, that's called a colonoscopy. That's not an anal probe.
Dude, they felt that for a few days afterwards.
But I will give them credit because they actually, this is one of the first. These are one of the first alien creatures we've seen that really looked alien. I mean,
oh yeah, they had big funky
really
heads and
straight bubbly eyes,
cube meats for eyeballs, and yeah, they were funky looking.
They had like lobster eyeballs, like little lobster crab eyeballs,
skinny legs, and
butt cracks for faces.
Yeah,
An Easter egg: the aliens were referred to by several members of the art department as Shroomies, so we know what their dicks look like.
Never mind.
We could go there, but okay.
I was gonna refer to a former president of the United States, but I won't.
Just the fact that you said that means you already referred to. So what the hell?
Besides, that was the Super Mario Brothers mushroom.
But you can totally tell that they were like that because first off, our thing about they wanted to come to the ship and molest and eat the people. They had a total Voyer-Cam in the corners there.
They were watching them shower.
Oh, they were watching everything. And they boosted their systems. I'm like, that was the weirdest thing. I was like, okay, so I understand tapping into the systems and learning from that way. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But to be able to supercharge when they fire the phase cannons and they're like, no, watch this. We're gonna fucking times 10 on that fucking thing, and they won't even expect it. This is gonna be so funny. That was hilarious.
They were totally pranking Enterprise.
So hilarious.
It was such teenagers.
Yeah, big time.
But they're sitting there and they're looking through and when they're watching, it goes, hey, dude, it's you guys' fault. You're the one to send the CD with the nudes on them.
Yes.
We just wanted to see you in person.
Send more nudes. Hit refresh.
So, and they had the thing. So I think that the technology did interface properly and it caused that feedback loop because it just wasn't supposed to be there.
It was like, oops.
And then of course Archer gets all indignant. It's like, you're watching my crew taking showers and everything else. You're going to pay for that. So yeah, he was rightfully pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are websites for that thing. Come on, pay up.
But they can't get the websites because they don't have the subspace transceivers deployed.
There you go. You got to have the subspace internet with Echo 1 and Echo 2 working. The one thing about this whole sequence, okay, so they knocked out all the power and oh God, the starship is completely dark and we're walking around with flashlights. That's got to be really fucking scary.
Yeah,
but the thing is like, I noticed like, wait a minute, if all the power is out, how is gravity still working? They're walking around and gravity's working just fine.
Backup generator.
Good question.
Yeah, but if they have backup generators, would you plug some lights in too?
Well, you would figure that they would have emergency lighting. You're always supposed to have emergency lighting on a grayscale, but
when you get zapped so hard that even the emergency lights don't work, that's really strange.
I would imagine life support and gravity have to be on some kind of separate insular system where it's not affected by with the rest of the ship.
Either that or they're all wearing magnetic shoes.
That could be.
You kind of figured they would have to do that because imagine you're on board a starship and your lights and gravity go out. You don't know where the fuck you're going. You know, if you're
and
up,
nobody's
you're
wearing
down,
safety belts. So if the power goes out and you're on the bridge and you're not wearing a safety belt, you would float up all over the place.
You don't know which end is up, so you don't know which end to anal probe.
You could. Whoa.
They're flown all over the place. They're going left. They're going right. If the gravity goes out, imagine what kind of like catastrophe like that would cause.
It would be very bad.
And can you imagine all the HR complaints after that? He totally
HR.
grabbed my boob. He grabbed my boob, but it was dark and I couldn't see. No excuse.
Someone anally probed me and I couldn't see who it was. But they
Someone
had
anally
mushrooms.
probed me and I liked it.
Isn't that a Katy Perry song?
Oh my God.
Fireworks.
No, the other one.
We're particularly off topic today.
I kissed a squirrel and I liked it.
There you go. That's the one.
Okay. Going back on topic.
Yes.
So in this section, at least Archer can admit that he has something to prove. I was like, thank you. You at least admitted that you had something to prove.
Yeah, he wanted to be able to finally go after them, and that's the next section over, right?
I think we're there, right?
That one.
Act 4, Bitch Slap. Storyline A. Our silent teen stalker returns and immediately pulls another prank call on the Enterprise. Archer isn't having any of it and fires his new phase cannons at him. Unfortunately, they don't even make a scratch. The captain decides that overpowering the cannons again for a one-time shot, while in the process, crippling the Enterprise is the best course of action. Unrealistically, the plan works and the silent stalker limps away with a leaking plasma engine, which is by far the shortest space fight ever. Storyline B, Hoshi is still trying to figure out what Reed's favorite food is, and she goes to sickbay and asks the doctor. Unbelievably, the doctor suggests looking at his confidential medical files to find out. Apparently, he's allergic to everything and gets regular injections so he can eat pineapple. Finally, the puzzle has been solved. Reed's birthday arrives and everyone is chilling, talking, and drinking beer. Hoshi joins them with a surprise birthday cake for Reed. It's pineapple, his favorite. Celebrate good times, come on.
I thought that was kind of, first off, Dr. Phlox, that smile, he gets too excited to do something clandestine. It's like, okay, well, can you help me at all? Well, this is personal records.
Actually, I have the personal records right here. We're not supposed to look at them, but I can look at them.
My
I
God.
don't know anybody's personal records would have their favorite food, but he's like, let's look to see what we can find, shall we? Oh, look, he's allergic to this. He's allergic to that. He had this. Don't sleep with him. And he had that. He's got this.
There are no secrets on a starship.
He's got a micro penis. Don't sleep with him.
I can't believe the doctor gave Hoshi all of that medical information. What the fuck happened to client confidentiality? Records are private and they should not be discussing them with anyone.
but
When you're in
any reason.
Starfleet, they own your ass.
When it's for a birthday meal, there's an exception made.
And that's what he said.
And he leaves it. Did you guys notice that? Like, the file is up there, you could see it, and this is all confidential, and he freaking leaves it on the screen and, like, goes away so anyone could look at it at any time.
Yeah, but medical jargon on a computer screen, nobody likes to look at that stuff.
Plus,
And
it
there's
might-
nobody else in sickbay, so
Exactly.
Yeah, it might have timed out. We don't know if they had a screensaver.
Well,
It
don't
might have
worry. I have a
locked up.
couple more rants about this section.
And what was it? What was it that he was taking the pills for bromelain?
Viagra. Yeah, Viagra.
It was the blue pill.
Oh,
No, not for sexual dysfunction, but he was taking the supplements.
that's why he's the armory officer, because he's got to get a big gun.
You know, but also you got to understand why he's doing that, because the fact that he can't eat anything with an allergic reaction, and the fact that means he's walking around pissed off all the time, which makes him a perfect security officer.
Yeah, that's true, actually. That's good thinking right there.
You know, he's all ticked off.
Since we're talking about the allergic thing, here's my other rant. First off, okay, oh my freaking God, he's allergic to everything. And when they give him the cake, I am really mad that the first words out of his mouth weren't, what's in it? What are the ingredients? What am I eating? Like, what is this? Not to mention, if he's allergic to everything, he should be allergic to gluten as well, which means he can't have the cake.
But he's taken the bromelain injection.
Yeah, that's why he's taking the injections.
For the pineapple.
And
If
they
he's
say,
allergic to everything else.
but everybody says like, he eats whatever, so he doesn't have like a favorite. He just eats anything that's put in front of him.
He eats anything, so he doesn't have a food allergies
I
to
think
a
it's
lot
the
of things.
miracle of modern Starfleet science that lets him eat what he wants to eat.
It's Star Trek predicting the future about how kids are going to be allergic to everything in the future.
Just take an injection, you'll be fine. That's
I
the,
wish.
That's the
Work
solution.
out.
That's Star Trek right there.
Dude, I so wish.
But I love how they did, what was the parody, the rock parody movie? somebody knows this.
Spinal
Are you
Tap?
talking about Spinal Tap?
That's it. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I like when he did the Spinal Tap, when Archer did Spinal Tap. It's like, we fired him. It's like, it didn't do any damage. We'll turn it up to 11.
Yeah, crank that sucker.
And it only goes to 10. You know, why 11? It makes it louder.
So wait, you blew the fuck out of that planet over there. Why can't you do the same thing to that starship that's kicking our ass? Because like, what? We'll blow up half the decks and like, we'll blow them up the deck because we need to do
It's
it.
like,
Yeah.
we almost lost 2 decks, so I'd rather lose 2 decks than have them win. I'm tired of everyone beating us up.
And it was a one-shot thing. You're just going to do one shot and you're going to disable yourself. How smart is that?
At least the targeting scanners are finally working right, so it didn't miss.
Oh, this is true.
Because that was a problem initially.
Yep, and the fact that they hit it and didn't blow up half the ship, so which is a
well,
good
they had
thing.
shields on, so if they didn't have shields on, that would have torn that ship in half.
Can you imagine those 2 teenagers are inside and they hit the ship and you see they do damage and the other guy probably turned around and smacked them and he goes, "What the fuck, dude? I thought you said they were pushovers."
No, what probably happened was he was like, oh shit, my dad's ship. He's going to kill me.
He's gonna totally kill us.
Exactly.
It's like,
That's
oh my
what
God.
happened. They're like, we gotta
go
get out of here. Oh shit, we gotta fix the ship now.
When we get home, tell them that we went to warp. We pulled in an asteroid and didn't see it.
We were hit by a deer. It's okay.
You know? We didn't know it was one of those space jellies on this side.
Well, you know what? This it reminded me of though. The whole episode with the aliens and the title Silent Enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking this was the episode Hush from Buffy or The Silence from Doctor Who.
Ooh, yeah.
Hush from Buffy was really good. And for those of you who are Doug Jones fans, he played one of the Silents in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So really, really creepy episode. In fact, I think it's one of the creepiest that Buffy has ever done. So it was really good. And for those that are Doctor Who's fan, I have a question for you. The Silence and versus what's the other one?
Weeping Angels.
Oh, Weeping Angels. That's right.
Oh, okay.
If the Silence ever met the Weeping Angels, what would happen?
The world would explode.
Discuss amongst yourselves and come back to us.
Everyone would fall asleep because it'd be so boring.
Ouch.
No.
Ouch.
I take it you didn't see the Doctor Who's episodes on that one.
No, I watched all of the
I'm trying
Doctor
to
Who
remember
episodes.
Which one was the Silence? I might have
Silence-
fallen asleep on that one.
The Silence are the ones where you see them and you turn around and you forget they were there.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, and then you have the Weeping Angels. As soon as you blink, they move forward.
Then they're gonna get you. Yeah.
So
don't
what would
blink.
happen if it's the Silence and the Weeping Angels? What would happen? Because the Weeping Angels, if they turn around, then that means the Weeping Angels should forget they're there.
Yep. But the minute they turned around, the angels would move closer. But they wouldn't know why.
All I know is the Daleks can't climb stairs, so I'm going upstairs.
No, the Daleks can fly, so
They can fly. They just didn't have the budget back then.
I stay with my original answer because I would lock myself in a box underground.
That would be interesting.
But you would lock yourself in the Pandorica.
Pandora, what?
Pandoramica?
I don't know, but I would probably starve since I couldn't cook or like use a replicator without starting a fire.
Don't you remember the Pandoricum, the box the doctor locked himself in?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it'd be something like
one.
that.
Yeah, that's when they had the what you call the master was watching
That
out
was a
for him.
good episode.
Yeah, it was Michelle Gomez. Oh my God, what an actress!
So good. Oh my God.
It's just amazing.
She was great in Sabrina, the Tales of Sabrina.
Yep, she was.
I haven't seen that. Is that good?
So good.
Okay, so it's something I should watch.
Yes.
It's a
Okay.
dark version of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Ooh. Okay.
So it was definitely a good episode.
Okay, getting back on track.
So Star Trek, right?
I want a slice of that cake that he had. That cake looked
Thank
good.
you.
It did look yummy.
I was going to talk about the cake.
And
so
it looked as big as one of the heads of the torpedoes.
what would have happened if his best friend said, yeah, he did like fish and halibut? Would they have made like a fish halibut cake?
You get a fish cake, yeah.
No, but his
With like
friend
a
did.
fish head on
sorry.
top?
Fish cake is gross.
I thought it was so funny because he didn't go there for the food. He went there for the hot waitress.
Exactly.
I've
thought
gone
that
to
was so
places like
fucked up.
that for the exact same stupid reason. Sorry.
Hooters.
Not even there. No, there's this pizza place that had this really super hot goth chick that was just cute and friendly. And anyway,
Wait a
long
minute,
story short,
hold on.
she doesn't
Goth
work
chick
there.
and friendly are oxymorons.
I'm sorry. She was a friendly goth chick. I don't know what that means because I'm not a goth person, but
You
yeah.
could be friendly and goth. That sounds like me in high school.
It means that I enjoyed the customer service at the restaurant. Okay.
I bet you did.
Yeah. She doesn't work there anymore. And I still end up going for the pizza, although it hasn't been a while because of, COVID.
Right.
Anyway, the other thing about this, the whole dilemma of do we take the risk? Is the risk acceptable? When they started talking about the astronauts that would sit on top of these ginormous rocket bombs to go into space, and they did it because the risk was acceptable. It was worth the danger. I got kind of my patriotic space guy vibes were like gelling right there.
Yeah, that was definitely, you're sitting in a machine that was made by the lowest bidder to go somewhere.
Government assembled, yes.
So yeah, that was definitely interesting. And it is pioneer.
But the idea it comes back to that classic speech, risk is our business.
Well, they took a ship to take it to the moon, and it was run on something that was less powerful than a Texas Instrument calculator.
Your brain.
Yeah.
Our smartphones have way more computing power than the entire collective computer that was in the world at the time that the first space mission went up.
Isn't that amazing that they went to space on less technology than what we have in our phones?
I know, in less than 8K worth of code.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, if you want to nerd out on this, go search on YouTube. And when they talk about the first landing on the moon and they were getting those 1201 errors, there's some nerdy stuff on YouTube where the guy actually goes over what is actually happening inside that tiny little computer. It's fascinating. They were cranking that sucker up in the CPU. These were error codes saying the CPU was hitting the 100% mark. They were pegging that sucker in space.
It was just unreal. But the technology to do it, the adaptability and everything else, it makes you think whether or not if we were the Ecosians, that we had a future space landed and somebody left the phaser behind. And you had a Kirk's like, you realize that's the basis of all of our technology. So that was the, what was it? The something circuit?
They didn't leave the phaser. They left a communicator. And I think, did they leave a tricorder too? It was just the communicator.
I think they left the communicator.
But yeah, the translator, which is like a transistor, it's the basis of all the modern Starfleet tech.
Yeah, which is actually that translator became the basis on Discovery, that thing that could create matter out of everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you go all back, it all comes back to that little thing right there, doesn't it?
Yep.
Fascinating.
It's very cool.
Creating food out of poop.
Now, it was, speaking about food.
Out of poop.
Now that we've done it the last part with everything, and we had Heather's successful rant about pineapple upside down cake with
is so
yummy
good.
Frosting. Which makes me want to do that. I think I'm going to do that right afterwards. Anybody has any final things to say before we get ready to wrap up the show? Silence is consent.
What? Wait a minute.
Your silence is consent, at least for this part of the show.
There's all these tiny little things that was cool. I mean, because Trip couldn't sleep without the warp engines being online. That aw. But no, I thought that was just cool. They blew it. They busted the kids up, and they had to go take their shit back to their dad and say sorry. That's hilarious. And now they're not going to go back. And since they were on the way back to Jupiter Station, they actually let's drop another Echo out. So Echo 3 is going to come out and put the cell tower back up. But
now is Echo 3 really Echo 3 or is it Echo 1? Because
that's
Echo 1
probably
and
going to be
Echo 2 were blown
Echo
up.
1 again. See, this is why I don't always like using numbers. I would call it Echo Alpha, but that's me.
And we never see these aliens again, to my recollection. We've never come across them again. This is the only time we see them, right?
Yeah, I don't remember seeing the butt faces.
Their dad punished them for a very long time after this.
They spread the word. You know that ship that everyone said it was easy to beat? They totally lied to avoid it. They messed up my dad's ride. I am so punished.
They blew up our shields.
They learned their lesson.
Seriously. It's not even worth it, dude. The pictures are better.
And it's cake and beer for everybody at the end. I thought that was kind of cool too. It's like, let them have a brew. Yeah, you guys can sleep in. You guys do good. The only nitpick I have is why didn't the rest of the engineering crew, why aren't they at the last scene too? Because those guys had every bit to do with the miracle work these guys did putting those face cans together.
They were on duty.
Oh, that's why. They were actually,
and the lower deck people were sleeping.
Oh,
There you go.
no beers for you guys. Sorry.
Nothing going on that. But and we already know how small the cabins are because we see Daniel's cabin was small. So you figured Hoshi may had a tiny quarters for herself, and she had a hot plate too.
And she got to get that huge box to carry that cake in. So between her and that big box, there's be no room in her quarters.
Speaking of Daniels,
she's got a big box. What?
Speaking of Daniels, that room's been locked up for a long time. I'm wondering what's growing in there. Because he left dishes of food in there, like under his bed and everything.
Oh, gross.
It's like intruder alert, what happened? A spore creature has developed in Spaniel's cabin.
It evolved.
We almost had a jump drive.
Oh, don't get Heather started on that one. Well,
Jump for my love.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in for us. Do not forget, if you want to follow what we're doing, go to our website, starfleetunderground.com, where you'll see all of our show links, notes, bios, and everything else. Again, a salute to Dom and to Lana for being our Patreon members. We look forward to the rest of you coming on board.
Thank you.
So continue to support us, help us spade and neuter our tribbles and feed them also, because then they could eat to their heart's content. But I've noticed a side effect. Once we neuter them and they don't reproduce, they start getting fat because they're not reproducing. So we get a bunch of fat tribbles. In fact, I thought one of them was a beanbag chair until I sat on it and it screamed. So
that wasn't a chair.
No, I noticed that.
Well, who wouldn't scream if you sat on their face?
Well, yeah. And
it was more muffled, right? It was like,
it's the first time I heard the tribble actually speak without a translator. It was like, what the fuck, dude? So they're getting big. So thanks you, everyone, for joining and listening to us. Please be careful. They're ramping vaccinations out everywhere. So they're opening up. Take it so we can see you guys again. There's a really good chance you'll meet some of us at Vegas coming up here for the next Star Trek convention. As it gets closer and closer, we'll clue you in on where and how, where we are. And if you want advance information, sign up for our Patreon. That's right. That was a plug. Sign up to our Patreon. So remember, just don't have a great week.
What's happening next week? Did we talk about next week?
Yeah, you kind of jumped ahead.
Oh, we're going to skip that part. Go and say, wait. Rewind. So, in order to trouble, get the fuck off me, dude. And Patrick, what's happening next week? What's our next week's show?
No. Next week is season 1, episode 13. Dear Doctor, Phlox is asked to save the Valachians from annihilation by disease. However, he discovers something unusual about the Mank, another humanoid race living on the planet.
Ooh, a medical mystery.
Yes. CSI Star Trek.
Outstanding. So please, just don't have a great week, but make it so.
And if you can, support the show by going to patreon.com/Starfleet Underground. Lots of perks to choose from, and you might even like some of them. Starfleet Underground, beaming into a podcast feed near you. Log on to our website at starfleetunderground.com and send your comments and questions to thecollective@starfleetunderground.com. Follow us on Twitter at StarfleetUnderG and on Facebook and Instagram, we're Starfleet Underground.